Good morning and welcome back to What My Dad Does. Today I'm installing a door frame. Quite tricky, but if you're up for it, let's find out how we're going to do that. So why can it be tricky? Well, I'm going to show you. So imagine this is your door frame. There are a number of ways that this can go wrong. Don't forget, you're installing a door in here which has perfect 90-degree angles. It's a perfect rectangle. So anything you do to this frame which is not a perfect rectangle, the door's not going to fit properly. The legs can be twisted. They cannot be parallel to each other. They can be in and out like this. It can obviously be not vertical. It can obviously be not horizontal. Basically, there are a number of ways that this can go wrong. So out of all the things that I do, I spend a lot of time on my door frames to try and get them as perfect as I can, for the simple reason that it makes my life easy when I install the door. There's nothing worse than a door that, when it should be closed, just swings itself open because the door frame is leaning, or you go to fit the door and realise you've got to plane a load off the bottom of it or the top of it, or the head's not sitting square. You really want to get this, spend time and get it correct, so when you fit your door, it's easy. So what's in the bag? Well, we've got the head, which I've cut to suit my door frame. So I'm 2'3" on this occasion, so I've cut that down to 2'3". You've then got your door stops. We don't need those at the moment. Put those safely to one side. Just be careful for these. These can be quite fragile. If they fall, they can snap where there's a knot and stuff, and you don't want that to happen. So put those over there out the way for now. You won't need those again until you are actually hanging the door. And then we've got the two legs. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to screw my head into the top of my legs. I'll choose obviously the nicest side with the least knots and things. I'm then going to measure from the top and make sure the bottom is the same and put some battens across the bottom. And I'm then going to put some triangular bits in the corners to keep it 90 degrees. So it's not doing that. So the corners are 90 degrees. So the legs are 90 degrees to the head. I'll then flip it over, put another one on the other side to make sure the legs aren't twisted like this, to make sure they are parallel to each other. And then that should be the frame made up. Right, so this is what we've got. So this is our frame built. I've got my triangular bits on here to make sure that is 90 degrees. Always check the other side as well. And I've got the bits on the bottom, just so I know that it's the same distance at the top as it is at the bottom, both sides as well, because remember, they can twist in and out. In fact, this frame is horrendous. It's so badly twisted from the top to the bottom that actually I can see that the bottom of this is kicking in, and although I've put one either side, it's still sitting twisted. So I'll have to pull that correct when I put it in the frame, and I do that with my screws. So this is built. Try and keep those as low as possible. I've seen some people put them up here, but then when you fit in the frame, you spend your entire time tripping over the things. So I try and keep those low. And that's got rid of a few of our issues with keeping it all where it should be. So the next bit is to put it in the frame, and I'm going to have to reset the camera up and we'll go through that next. Okay, so there we are. So we've got our frame in place. I've just had a look at this. First thing you want to do is just obviously check what your walls are like that you're cutting into. Very often, because they haven't got a door frame in them, and may well not be the best, and this is a case in point. This side is actually pretty good, it's pretty plumb, but this side from top to bottom was out nearly an inch. I don't know what they were doing, but I've had to hack all this plaster off just so I can replaster it afterwards and get it in line with the door frame, because otherwise it was sticking right out here. So the first thing you want to do is check that. then we're going to put 6 screws in either side, 2 top, 2 middle, 2 bottom. But the first thing you need to know is where your hinges are going. I don't know whether you're having a door with 2 hinges or 3 hinges. This one I've got 3. I normally set mine 150 mil down, 225 mil up, and then you have the hinge, and then the other hinge is in the middle of those 2. So I set my screws just above that hinge, just below the bottom hinge, and just above the middle hinge. And I say you want 2 in each space, and across the width of this, you need to make sure you're not right on the edge, because especially as I'm going into block, not so bad in timber, but in block, you want to make sure you're not going to split the block when you plug and screw it. So I've actually come in about 35 millimeters here, because I've got 15 mil of plaster either side, and I want to be properly in the block. I've also countersunk these holes because I want my screw to countersink, because obviously it's going to be painted afterwards, can't be seeing a screw. So I've countersunk the hole so I can get the screw right in there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to line this up with my level. Oh, first thing, you want to make sure and check your floor is level. Sometimes the floor's a little bit out. They're not normally too bad, especially over a couple of feet. But this side is very fractionally higher than that side. You want to start on the highest side, because obviously if you put the lower one in first, you can't bring this one down so the top is horizontal. So do the higher one first, and then you can lift this leg up a couple of millimeters so it's horizontal and 90 degrees. So I'm going to start with this side, as this is the fractionally higher one. I'm going to drill through there. I'm going to put my plugs in, and then going to put my screws in, and just not do it up tight, just do it so it's roughly there. And then I'll start looking at this side, and then I'll bring this into line and do the same with this side. So, right, that's in. Couple of problems that I had. One of the screw holes went straight into a mortar joint where the mortar was missing. How's your luck? So I had to do another one. And remember me saying I've put my screws in from the edge so I don't want it to blow the block? Well, this one blew the block. So you can never be too far in, but of course you don't want to be right next to each other, because the whole idea of having 2 screws there is to stop the lining warping. So it's a bit of a catch-22 really. I'll probably I'll have to hard wall over this anyway when I plaster this in, so that'll just be covered in that and should be okay. So I've checked the level. These are perfectly level. This is the side my door's being hung, so I'm concentrating the most on this side. But what I need to do now is I need to tighten these screws up. Now, one thing I forgot to mention earlier when I had my beautiful little model was that when you tighten these screws, the legs can bow. They literally curve in or out. So you need to make sure that down here it's perfectly vertical. So unfortunately, my 6-foot level has been loaned out. I've just realised. So I've got my plastering straight edge. So I'm going to be making sure that there's no gaps down here, that this is straight, and the other side. What I need to do now is cut wedges, timber wedges, because what I don't want to do is just try and tighten that. As I say, it will bow. I want to put a wedge in by each screw, and then I can tighten it onto the wedge, and then that'll make it a real nice tight joint. Right, so I've cut my wedges. What I forgot to say last time was the other stage I was looking at the door frame this way. This time when I tighten it up, I'm looking at the door frame this way. So last time I had my level there. This time I'm going to be putting my level there. and I can see that the bottom wants to go in. So I'll be loosening the bottom two there, pulling these two in up to a wedge, get that perfect that way, and then wedge that and tighten that side up as well. And that's it, we're done. All the wedges are in, it's tight, it's as solid as a rock. I've proper made sure that, this is the side my door's hung on, so I've made sure that is 100% vertical, as is that. And that's about it really for fitting door frames. It'll be a lot easier if you've got timber stud walls, simply because you haven't got to plug it, which makes it a little bit more tricky in block. But hopefully that should get you going and get you to a stage where you can fit your door. I've got a video on fitting doors. You should be able to find that on my channel page. So I wish you best of luck with your frames. Please, if this has helped you, please give me a like, and I'll catch you on the next one.